So today we're gonna learn how to draw an eye. Basically, how we start is if we draw a big circle. It would be best to freehand it because if you make one big swoop, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you make one big swoop, it would tend to be more even and so on and so forth. It has more your own touch. So once you have your really big circle, you're going to create an outline for the eye. So you would do something like this. You see eyes tend to be relatively oval, so you can do one line here where it would more or less be the eyelid, and then another line here. You don't want to go too past in the circle that you've drawn. So you would do another line around here. And then here you want to curve this a little bit. So once you do that, then you can round it off here, and then you have more or less the shape of an eye. Here would be the teardrop duct. So you can do something like this here. It could be a relatively round shape. And you have to remember that this part of the eye comes out and then back in. Like it's indented here and it is higher here than it is here. So you can create some guidelines for yourself where you create some lines from the tear duct down this way and then like that. That's basically just the bottom eyelid. So that's that. And then for the top one, you would do something similar. You would go ahead and you would generally want to be a little bit closer on this side and then bring it up and then bring it back down. And if you add a little extra lines like this on the sides, it's totally fine because a lot of people have hooded eyes. Okay, so now you would go for the inside of the eye and you create a little line here, which would separate the place where the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid would connect. So there you go, and you just kind of go around. Because there is a little lip here, everyone has it. And then it would be thicker here because the eye curves outwards. It would be kind of like when you slice something in half, it would go like this. And then you would see more of it, here than it would otherwise. So it should be thicker here and thinner closer to here. And then you can just kind of continue it until you get to here. Then you would do the upper eyelid, and which you're going to see even less of this because the upper eyelid is indeed on top. So this is going to be overshadowed. So that's that. And then you would create a smaller circle within this circle, which would be here, like that. Again, it would be best to freehand it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can try to get it as perfect as possible by doing little corrections to it, but it won't always come as a perfect circle. So this is the generic shape. You want to create some highlights. Give yourself an idea of where the highlights of the light would be striking. So basically, you would say if there's a window in the front, you would do something like this. And then you also want to remember to curve them because eyes are round. So any highlights you do make would have to be like that. You could kind of do them randomly. It depends on what you're trying to draw specifically. If you have a reference, your reference should show you exactly where it is. And then you do another circle within this circle. And this is the basic structure of it. If you want, you normally shade it here and create the idea that this is round and that this is further in than this part. So you would just get with the side of your pencil and just sort of create that right there. Okay. And then you might want to do the same on this side. Let me turn to get a better angle. There we go. So once you have that done, you can draw little veins if you want to add that detail. And remember to make them as jiggly as possible because veins do tend to be a little bit squiggly. So there you go. And then you can add a little bit shading, a little bit more detailing. You might want to do a little bit here because this part is deeper than this part. But that would be more or less a generic shape. Here, you do have little, because from the inside of your eye to the outside is not a straight color. It's usually a little veiny. It's a bunch of it looks a little bit more like a crater. So you would do little formations like these here to kind of guide you later when you're coloring it, and then you can shade them a little bit deeper or a little bit not deeper. You generally want to be as light, the lightest around the middle of the eye, and then darker here, and then you might want to leave a line for blurring around here. And that would be more or less it. Now your eyelashes, you would generally want to make, because this is a bigger scale, you'd want to do something like this. Just kind of try to get the base a little bit thicker than the tips. The tips, you have to feather them out, so that, because, you know, hair does tend to thin out as it grows out. So you would do them, it's not starting from the inside of the eye, but from the just on the outer edge of the eyelid, you would do something like this. And then you would just sort of freehand them. You kind of want to clump them together a little bit every now and then. You can make these little triangles, because that it tends to be how eyelashes actually form. Here, you're gonna stoop a little bit lower because there's a slant downward. And here they're gonna be a little bit thinner. Just kind of want to freehand those in. And there we go. And then you're going to do the bottom eyelid, eyelashes. Eyelashes should always be the last thing that you do, because they're subjective to everything else that you're drawing. So that's important. There we go. These ones came out a little bit too long for me, so doesn't really make sense. Again, like the ones here should be really thin, and the ones as you come closer to this end, and especially this area, should get thicker. These ones came out a little bit too long, so I'm gonna correct them right quick. If you correct them, you want to be really gentle with your eraser, because then you might lose that whole effect of the feathered, right? The thicker base and the thinner tips. So there we go. And then this would more or less be the eye. Cool. So here you might also want to do a couple of highlights, just because this part is wet. And this here rounds out, so we're gonna be coloring it, it's gonna show. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start with, let me see if I can find the black. I reckon this is a black. So we're gonna fill in the black center. This is a very dilated eye. The middle part would normally be a little bit smaller than this. But I mean, if it's a very surprised eye, or if you wanna go for something a little bit like a very dramatic look to your eye, you might want to dilate it a little bit. It just creates that effect, which is nice. Well, that's the end of it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you really like this video, it would be fantastic if you would like it, give it a thumbs up, or subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments if you want to see anything in particular in the future. And yeah, there you go.